plus the Champions League's difficult. So it's an incredible performance from Tim Bruce, but I think it's a very strong, solid. He gets in the field, lovely ball from Declan Rice there. He does that so well, Declan, finds a yard of space, just leaves it in that area. It's a beautiful header. It's a wonderful cross. He gets up, shoulders in the right position, keeps his eye on it and powers it in.
Declan Rice, so influential throughout that whole game, very much involved in that first goal. But then 3 minutes later, it was 2-0, and it was Arsenal's two wonder boys, Karen, combining for this one.
Look, sometimes when injuries happen, you have to play your kids. And what Arsenal have always done, they've always had great kids that have come through, and these are epitomise that again. Nwaneri has been brilliant when he's been given the opportunities. Great from Lewis Skelly, and then it's a wonderful finish. But particularly for the first two goals in that area down that left-hand side, it's probably a weakness that they highlighted for PSV. And it's fine when you find a weakness, but you've got to execute it. And that's a brilliant finish, left foot. Nwaneri, talented kid who can play multiple positions in the final third, and that's a lovely picture to end the evening with.
Yeah, that's the first time two English teenagers have combined for a goal in Champions League history, made in Hale End. Oozing talent, the pair of them, Joe.
Yeah, massive. I mean, I love the pair of them, but Nwaneri, I think, is going to be an absolute genius. I think he's the most exciting young footballer at the moment in England, and maybe even in Europe. You know, what he's doing is incredible, and he's been out of this difficult period. He's come out with him, and I was just thinking to myself, when Saka and Martinelli gets back, I'd move him inside and play like a double 10 with Odegaard. I think that's where he'll end up. I think with the pace either side of them, I think they might have a say in the Champions League. Listen, they're through now. Let's make no bones about it. The next round will be difficult, whoever they get. But Arsenal on their day can beat anybody. You know, it's just whether this group of players can sustain it for over the course of a whole season. But certainly in knockout football, I think the team's set up for knockout football.
He's almost 18, Nwaneri. Does he get into the England starting 11 now?
I mean, for me, I certainly bring him. He's that good. I don't think he doesn't need the under-21s, in my opinion. I think he's that good. I think he needs to go straight in with Thomas Tuchel, use him, you know, get around the players, bringing him off the bench, blooding him in there. He's an England player for the next 10, 15 years. Wonderful talent, great mentality. He's at the right club for him at the right time. And I think, I'm sure I'd be stunned if Thomas Tuchel doesn't say, I want to have a look at him at close quarters and bring him into this squad.
And I was with Joe when he watched him live for the first time, and he got so excited seeing him play, Karen. What stands out when you watch Nwaneri?
Like Joe said, he's versatile. He can play in both the wide areas on both sides, but I agree with Joe, he can play in the 10 and as a centre forward. I think Mikel Arteta's mentioned that. I agree with Joe. I think he'll eventually end up coming into that 10 position because he's creative, he can make something out of nothing. And I know I keep going on about it, but football tactics and setups can always be broken by magicians, like I said earlier, like Joe, who can do something that other players can't. This kid can do that. He's got the X factor, he's got the stardust. So sometimes you've got to let him go into areas to do that. But equally he's young, so you have to protect him. Arsenal have got to learn from someone like Bukayo Saka that sometimes you need to rest them and make sure that they're there for the next 10 years. But certainly a talented lad, and one that we're excited to see from an English perspective do really well.
Yeah, and then it was Mikel Merino next on the score sheet. But Arsenal just went on the rampage, Joe, and put this tie out of sight.
Yeah, again, when they're free-flowing, Arsenal, bodies in the box, from PSV's perspective, this sums up their whole night. You know, it was calamitous. It was, ridiculous defending. Look at that. You go with the outside of boot, falling back. Mourinho can't believe his luck. He slots it away, lovely. But we're going to wax lyrically about Arsenal and the football that they're playing here. But just from, a Dutch perspective, PSV, the first leg at home, and you perform like this and you let the game slip away from you, it really is criminal.
Is it embarrassing?
It's embarrassing, yeah. I mean, listen, I've been on the end of drubbings like this, but when you take into consideration the context, this club, they would have been preparing for this game for weeks and weeks and weeks, and they just let Arsenal walk through them. They look like a Conference League team, and that's not. I don't think that's being unkind. I think the players are going to be hurting, and the manager will be hurting, and rightly so, because the game's done now. They've got to go to Arsenal now, and it's going to be like. it's going to be like pulling teeth for them going there, because they're probably going to get another slapping like this. So yeah, Odegaard, great to see him amongst it. Like I said, Arsenal like this, Kaz, they can beat anyone when they play like this, because they've got the players. Whether they can do it and become champions with this team, I'm not sure, but they can certainly win a cup competition like the Champions League.
Regardless of the opposition, did we see Odegaard at his best tonight as well, Karen?
I have to look. It's great to see him on the score sheet. It's great to see him build his confidence, and this is the perfect game for Arsenal. I can't get too carried away. As much as it's an amazing result, it's 7, it's away from home, it's Champions League. PSV was shocking tonight, but it's great for Arsenal's confidence. It's great for the narrative. Different goal scorers and Odegaard as well. But you know, the next leg, the next round rather, it will be way harder, and that's when I want to see, you know, Odegaard bounce back and lead. And he's a top quality player though.
But Arsenal can start planning for the quarter-finals already. The gun.